Right on. Thanks, folks. Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Johnny and Josh after the break.
Covering the content connecting your community. You're watching NonStop Local Montana at 5.
Thanks for joining us this Saturday evening. I'm Ethan Jamba, and you're watching NonStop Local. We begin tonight by tracking the disappearance and possible homicide of Shauna Grove Hart, whose body was found last night. Her death is now drawing renewed attention to many dangers of many domestic violence survivors face. Now, as investigators continue to piece together what happened to Shauna Grove, advocates say her case reflects a larger, ongoing crisis. Our Rachel Kindred joins us from Billings with more.
Billings police issued a missing and endangered persons alert for 35-year-old Shauna Grove after friends and family said the mother of 6 hadn't been seen since late Wednesday. On Friday night, police updated and said Shauna had been found, and the missing person case was now a homicide. Friends described Shauna Grove as someone who, quote, loved with her whole heart, out loud and without reserve. Billings police say Shauna
covering the content connecting your community. You're watching NonStop Local Montana at 5.
Thanks for joining us this Saturday evening. I'm Ethan Jamba, and you're watching NonStop Local. We begin tonight by track the disappearance of the possible homicide of Shauna Grove Hart, whose body was found last night. Her death is now drawing renewed attention to the dangers many domestic violence survivors face. Now, as investigators continue to piece together what happened to Shauna Grove, advocates say her case reflects a larger, ongoing crisis. Our Rachel Kindred joins us from Billings with more.
Billings police issued a missing and endangered persons alert for 35-year-old Shauna Grove after friends and family said the mother of 6 hadn't been seen since late Wednesday. On Friday night, police updated and said Shauna had been found, and the missing person case was now a homicide. Friends described Shauna Grove as someone who, quote, loved with her whole heart, out loud and without reserve. Billings police say Shauna was reported missing after she was last seen getting into a vehicle in the city late Wednesday night. Authorities confirmed Friday night she was found dead inside that vehicle in Bighorn County, and the case remains under investigation. Police have not named any suspects, but friends say Shauna had been a victim of domestic violence, and court records show she had previously taken legal steps meant to protect her safety, including a no-contact order that had been filed against Tanner Grove, her husband, earlier this month. While Tanner has not been named as a suspect, the case is raising difficult questions about how those protections can fail.
They take every ounce and every second they can to gain power and control over you. And that looks like a lot of things. That is why when we leave it is the most dangerous. A lot of abusers are, if I can't have you, nobody can. And so that's when they end up killing, because it's easier to kill your partner than it is to let them move on and live their life.
Advocates say cases like this are not isolated. And for those in an abusive relationship, leaving is often the most dangerous time, even when survivors seek help through the courts or local resources. Now, not every story like this makes headlines, and advocates say that's part of the problem. They encourage anyone who's experiencing domestic violence to reach out for help, and says support can be found 24/7 through local organizations and the National Domestic Violence Support Hotline. We'll post a link to that information on our website at nonstoplocal.com. Reporting in Billings, Rachel Kindred, NonStop Local.
Rachel, thank you for your reporting tonight. We'll continue to bring you updates as more information is made available on our ends. Now, continuing to track crime, this time out of Carbon County, the Red Lodge PD is requesting assistance from the public regarding a recent case of criminal mischief and trespassing. According to the Carbon County Sheriff's Office, the incident, which took place at Old Red Lodge Hospital off 21st Street West, involved 2 men, both about 15 years old. One of the boys is described as having a thin build and long blonde hair, while the other boy is described as being about 5'5", of medium build and having dark hair. Officers are asking people with information to call the number on the screen. All right, keeping things here in the Big Sky, but taking a brief break from news, and to do that is none other than our weather forecaster, Kyrie Leasing. Kyrie, what do we have on the horizon coming up?
Well, bad news, maybe? Some snow on the way. I don't know if you were
don't even
missing
say it. No.
Okay. Okay, I won't. Maybe not to you, but to the people in Montana, I will. Sorry to say, but here's some snow that we're seeing. Here's a live look right now at what some of those snowfall conditions that we're seeing today. Really light precipitation, some of it really unsettled over western parts of the state. As for Glasgow, we're really seeing a lot of precipitation holding over there, a lot of that being snowfall, but again, a lot of that is going to start to break up as we get out of today into tomorrow. Now, as we get into this weekend and out of this period of snowfall, we're still seeing lighter impacts when it comes to precipitation, really holding over the western and south central parts of the state. And when those conditions transition to eastern Montana, we're really seeing a lot more rainfall when it comes to precipitation as opposed to snowfall that we're seeing in western and in central Montana. But as we get into Monday, we could be seeing some more snow on the way, at least for south central Montana and areas of the Rocky Mountains. Still unsettled weather preparing to carry us through the work week. We could be seeing a lot more rainfall when it comes to Tuesday and some snowfall when it comes to Wednesday. Now, either way, as we get into the rest of tomorrow, Butte and Bozeman warming into the 30s and 40s, could be seeing a chance of snow by the end of today. End of tomorrow, excuse me, while Great Falls and Helena are warming into the 30s and 40s as well. Chances of snow showers throughout the rest of the day, while Missoula and Kalispell are warming into the 50s and 40s by 5, but could be seeing a chance of rain by the end of the day in Missoula with a chance of snow in Kalispell. Now I've got a freeze warning coming up and high winds. Don't worry, I've got a detailed radar coming up after the break.
Kyrie, thank you very much. Now, the U.S. Forest Service just announced an update on the East Side fire burning just south of Red Lodge in the Custer-Gallatin National Forest. The fire, which started on Monday and led to multiple evacuations, is now 1,200 acres after being contained to by 30%. As of now, containment has been established along the East Side Road and a forest closure order has been issued for the fire service land around the blaze. East Side Road and Howell Gulch Road are open to local traffic only, and the cause is still currently under investigation. Now, in other fire-related news, a pile burning is taking place today in the Bonner area. The Missoula DNRC unit is burning about 25 piles in Camas Creek Meadow as part of the Blackfoot Trek's prescribed burn learning exchange. Officials are warning community members that the smoke may be visible from Potomac and Highway 200. Now in a scam alert, a skimmer has been found on gas pumps at the Three Forks Town Pump. According to the Broadwater County Sheriff's Office, the skimmers, which are placed on pumps so that when a credit card is swiped, all the information on the card is obtained, were found yesterday on diesel pumps D2 and D3. It's unclear how long the skimmers were active, and authorities are now reviewing video footage. We'll continue to give more information as it is made available to us. Now, over in Belgrade, the high school softball season has been in full swing now for a full month. That is until some recent winter weather put a damper on the field of play for teams in the area. Our Michael Teeple tells us how the local softball association is facing these challenges. Michael?
For local Belgrade softball teams, while they should be practicing and playing games here at the Belgrade Softball Complex, those plans are going to have to wait just a little bit longer, as the facility is rebuilding after damages due to heavy snow.
Everything essentially collapsed on top of itself. So all the vertical components of the structure, everything horizontal, anything metal essentially bent and was considered a total loss.
2 weeks ago, when Mother Nature decided to bring wet and heavy snowfall to the Belgrade area, it meant danger to the softball facility that's a hub for the spring sport.
My first thought, typically when we get heavy wet snow, is what are the softball fields like? And getting here at school and kind of watching it, was already pretty damaged at 8 a.m. and then watching it deteriorate more and more throughout the day was pretty crazy to see.
The winter conditions impacted the netting that protects against foul balls and altered the backstops on several of the fields, creating uncertainty about if the fields would be usable for the rest of the season. And even with the unexpected conditions, volunteers have been hard at work to restore the fields to playable conditions.
Again, I think the biggest thing that I want to reiterate is the amount of help that we got, not only within our organization, but other organizations around the area reaching out. The outpouring of support was greatly appreciated. We couldn't have done it without them.
And for the players who take the field each year, over 150 with the Belgrade Softball Association, they tell me the softball complex often feels like a second home.
It's just like where we've all grown up together, and our whole softball team has grown up playing together here, and it's like this is our home, this is our favorite spot to be, and it's really sad seeing it be disrupted by something that you couldn't control.
Despite the unfortunate situation, progress has been made, with one of the 4 fields being fully restored, and a second one not far behind as the work continues. Reporting in Belgrade, I'm Michael Teeple for NonStop Local.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, folks, it's about that time where we have to take a short break, but don't you go anywhere because we will have weather forecaster Kyrie Leasing with your full weather forecast, as well as anchor Adam Rodriguez with all of your sports news right after this. Stay right here, folks. You're watching NonStop Local.
Get news and weather anytime on nonstoplocal.com. We're on it.
welcome back. I've got your headlines for this Saturday. Today we're seeing light snow and freezing overnight conditions in the majority of the state, really a lot of that being concentrated in western parts of the state. Now tomorrow though, we could be seeing more snow on the way, but we're seeing some warming temperatures, warming up into those 40s and 50s. Now, here's what we saw for a majority of today. Really unsettled weather across this northern half of the state, really on this eastern side of the Rocky Mountain Front area. We're really seeing that precipitation still hold on. As for in eastern parts of the state, we're seeing a lot of that being held over Glasgow, really breaking up as it goes later into the day, seeing less precipitation as we get out through the rest of today. But here's where that freeze warning comes in into western Montana. We're seeing overnight lows tonight dropping into 23 degrees or even 32 degrees, up to an 80% chance of it being a hard freeze, which is this really rapid cooling that we could be seeing in the next couple of hours, which could put a lot of outdoor plants or your outdoor plumbing at risk. So it's highly advised to take your plants inside. If you can't, cover them with a tarp, and to, of course, check your pipes. Now, throughout the rest of this week, you can expect precipitation really intermittently. A lot of those conditions are starting, at least in the Rocky Mountains, a lot of that being mixed precipitation. Lower elevations more likely seeing rain, higher elevations more likely seeing snow. As for eastern Montana, we're really going to start to see precipitation start to ramp up as we get later into the Sunday. A lot of that in eastern Montana is being rainfall with some thunderstorm potential as well as it shifts later into this work week. But a lot of that precipitation as we start this work week is going to really hold over this southern half of the state. The past couple days we've been seeing precipitation in this northern half. Now it's shifting into the southern half, and we could be seeing some more snowfall on the way, with a lot of that unsettled weather shifting towards the Rocky Mountains, where we could be seeing a lot of intermittent snowfall possible throughout the start of this work week. And into Tuesday, we're going to see a lot more rainfall possible, maybe even thunderstorms. As you can see, these little red dots, that's where we could be seeing some thunderstorm potential on the way, and we'll keep you updated on where those impacts will lie as we get closer. Now, into eastern parts of the state, we're seeing high winds up to 25 to even 35 miles per hour, with those gusting winds up to 35 miles per hour. Now, this could make rough waters on area lakes, specifically Fort Peck Lake, so it's highly advised not to take your boat out, at least for a majority of today, maybe tomorrow, but I'd still hold off with these high winds that could be carrying over. Now, here's what wind gusts are looking at like right now. A lot of that is happening in eastern Montana, this northeastern corner, where we're seeing gusting winds up to 20 to even 30 miles per hour, as you can see near that Fort Peck Lake area. But either way, we're going to start to see those gusting winds start to ease up as we get out of this weekend. However, though, we are seeing a lot of concentrated higher winds when it comes to the eastern side of the Rocky Mountains. A lot of that pushing towards the eastern part of the state, ranging into the 20 to 30 mile per hour range. But either way, we're seeing a lot of that happening on the eastern side of the state, and we could be seeing a lot more higher winds when it comes to the rest of this weekend and starting this work week, where we could be seeing some more precipitation on the way. Now, temperatures right now are ranging around the 30s and 40s. Warmer temperatures expected, though, to cool down tonight into the 20s, that rapid freezing being possible, but warming into the 50s and 40s. You have a great rest of your day. We'll be right back.
NonStop Local Weather Tracker. Tracking, alerting, preparing, and protecting from disruptive to severe weather. Just think TAP. NonStop Local on TV and phone. We're on it. from the SWX Sports Studio. This is SWX NonStop Local Sports.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm Adam Rodriguez. Now, we're getting sports started earlier than normal in this show, but that's because down in Bozeman, the Natty Champs, they were in action for the Sonny Holland Classic, and before they hit the turf, the Cats, they got some new jewelry. And to talk about the afternoon, we're going to join our Johnny Day and Josh Dugan, who both made the trip to get all the ring ceremony and football action. Fellas, great to see you. Let's start with that ring ceremony. Break it down and just what was the environment like this afternoon?
Hey, thanks, Adam. And yes, and sorry to disappoint to all you viewers out there. None of us are named Dominic Delfidio. He's on vacation out in South Carolina right now. So Josh Dugan and I here, we got the opportunity to come down and cover the Sonny Holland Classic. And now, Josh, you've got a lot to say on that ring ceremony. The Bobcats received their national championship rings prior to the game. So cool thing, Josh.
100%, Johnny. Not every day you get to see something historic like a team receiving their national championship rings. So that was awesome. Definitely a fun time. Let's get to some video from that so the viewers at home can check that out because it was definitely a historic moment. And a big shout out to the Bobcat faithful for filling the stadium. It was pretty packed in here and it was loud despite it being a cold day in Bozeman. So that was a lot of fun. I definitely enjoyed that. So one of those things that you don't get to see every day, and you could tell the players could not believe the size of those rings as they packed a serious punch. Also, really cool to see members from last year's team who have moved on and graduated back at the stadium. You had guys like Julius Davis, Paul Brott, both getting their championship rings today, and of course Bobcat faithful was loving that. They had a huge round of applause for the guys who were graduated, so that was a lot of fun. And, the current Bobcat players, it seemed like this was kind of a symbolic turning of the page. Yeah, they were out here to play their spring game, but they were getting the hardware, and I think they were relieved to be able to move on from the championship run as much as they had a great experience and they want to celebrate it. Now they can lock in on next season and start putting in the work to bring another championship ring, hopefully to Bozeman. That's the feeling I got. Overall, great time, and we got some good audio from the players, so we'll have to hear what they thought, and as Coach Vegan as well.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, a lot of emotions, a lot of things going on, a lot of social media, a lot of text to answer. So really kind of putting a cap on the whole last year ring ceremony thing, and we get to move on to this year. I think capping off spring ball that way was awesome, and not having to kind of wait a little bit longer for the rings is a good way to move into this next year. So yeah, really cool.
Beyond the obvious, great to recognize the 25 team and get our rings out. Getting that turnaround so today could be part celebration, but then certainly part spring game was the intent back in January. So I appreciate Justin Jessup, our equipment guy, for leading that up.
All right, now, Adam, we're going to send things back to you. We'll be back here in a few minutes. We're staying put. We'll be back to talk about the actual game here coming up in a few.
Right on. Thanks, folks. Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Johnny and Josh after the break.